In part 3 of how to create a proportional circular area chart, what we're going to do is we're going to start to play around with the outer radius and change the size of it. So I'm going to scroll down into the plugin, and that's basically the part where we need to go. And what I want to do is, well, let me just show you an example. So we're going to grab one of this, and I'm going to say here, but this will be the outer radius. And I'm going to reassign a value to this. And I'm going to say here, for example, this will be 100 instead of whatever we have above. If I save this, and this is only for index 0, data point 0, save, refresh, you can see now we're getting somewhere already. You can probably figure this out. But of course, we need to make sure that this will be in proportion to whatever we have here, or in the ratio of that one. So how do we do this? So that's a bit more tricky. But what I'm going to do is, let's start with the basics. We're going to say data.datasets. And what I want to do is, because the outer radius here, and that's why I realized that this is basically excess of data, or no need for this code, but this here only focus on one data point. And what I need to do is a for each loop to trigger every data point. Well, in this case, it's only 2. You could do a third one if you want, but 2 would be probably the most practical, and it was a specific question related to this. So what I'm going to say here, datasets, index 0, dot, and then what I want to grab here is for every ratio that we have. And the ratio here is this one, of course. And of course here, this data here, we're working because of our object destructuring. So we say here, ratio for each. So, and then what we can say here, proper term, I don't know what's the right term, but let's say rate or proportion and index. So, but this rate is now the shorthand for the ratio value in that array. So now what I can do here is just grab this code here specifically, and then here, remember this is the index number. I'm going to grab this index, put it in here. And then we're going to say here, this will be equal to, and then we could say here maybe 100 multiplied by rate or something like that, or let's say 50. So you see that this has a working model. All right, that works. Then if I change this, you'll see here, if I do this on 3, it's getting bigger, and if I do 5 and 5, it should be an exact circle. It's all very nice, but this of course is not that, it's just a fixed code. So what I want to do is I want to make that more intelligent and make this more relatable to whatever it is. And I want to make sure I have the full circle, because right now we have excess space here. That excessive space needs to be now utilized. So how do we do this? For this, what we need to do is we need to get here from this array. We need to know what is the highest value in here, so we can calculate afterwards how much pixels is from this point here, very top, to the center. Divide this by the x amount of the ratio, and then multiply by the highest ratio. And so we have the proportion. So it sounds all very complicated, sorry about that, but it's a little bit more tricky. So what we're going to do here is, well, first of all, we need to know what is the highest value. So let's do that one. That's the easiest one. Luckily, we have the data object already. So what we can say here, I'll say constant. We can say yeah, highest value, or I guess we can say that highest value. I would say give it a better name, maybe the highest ratio or something like that. But then here, what I will do is math.max for maximum or max. And then I'm going to say a triple dot, that's the rest operator, to copy the array, and then just get all of this and look for here the highest value. So I'm going to say here data dot datasets index 0, put in the 0 here, and then I'm going to say here dot ratio. This here should give us now the highest value, whatever the highest value is. Let's do console log to confirm if this is correct. Right now, they're both identical values, so let's change that to 10 and as you can see here, as I go too high, this becomes an issue. But now you can see here it is intelligent enough to understand that the value of 10 is the highest in the ratio. So with that, we can now continue on. Well, let me remove all that one here. I'll save this for now. Next video, we're going to start making the proportion or calculate the proportion nicely.